Thank you for tuning in to Making Your Military Resume Firm Ready. I'm Rachel Kohler, an advisor in the Office of Career Strategy here at Georgetown Law. Before we get started, one quick note. This information is truly for making your resume firm ready. Public sector employers, particularly the federal government, have very different expectations for your job application documents. Please see OPICS, our Office of Public Interest and Community Service, for help on that front. Let's get started. So there are three fundamental ideas you should consider when adapting your military resume for firms. First, you may need to translate your relevant military experience for a civilian audience. Second, you may need to shift your mindset for a successful transition to the civilian legal market. And finally, having a military firm mentor is a key to success. We'll talk about each of these in turn. So first, let's talk about translating your military experience on paper. When military concepts, abbreviations, and terminology are thrown around, a civilian can feel like you're speaking a different language. It feels like jargon. There are two places on your resume where you may need to almost literally translate your military experience for a civilian audience, your job title, and your position description bullets. On this sample resume, you see that this candidate was a navigation and plotting specialist according to the military occupational classification. But does a civilian employer know what that means? Well, there's a resource to make this easier. ONET has a translation tool that translates your position titles for a civilian audience. In this example, ONET recommends the title Operations Research Analyst to explain this military job title for a civilian audience. Use good judgment when making these changes, as you want to make sure you're reflecting your experience in an accurate way. The bulk of where you want to spend your time on your resume is drafting the bullets under your experience. Every bullet should lead with an action verb and articulate your impact. Whenever possible, include your impact, what your impact was for each duty or project. In other words, show how you made a positive outcome for your team. For example, it is much more effective to say drafted legal documents to meet clients' goals rather than drafted legal documents. When choosing action verbs that reflect your experience, you always want to lead with the verbs that firms are going to be drawn to. You can find a list of the most common lawyer effectiveness verbs in the Career Compass, which is taken from the 26 Lawyer Effectiveness Skills resource. You can find this on Google. We also have a page on the Georgetown Law Careers section of the website titled Action Words for Powerful Resumes. It helps to match the specific skills you're highlighting to those the employer is looking for. Remember, recruiting is about finding good matches. When listing your bullets, make sure that your first bullets are always the ones that are most relevant to lawyering skills. They don't have to be the job duties you did most often. One other thing to think about is how you include your military awards. Civilians are not familiar with most awards, but does that mean you need to remove them? Not necessarily. Consider if each or any award could be integrated into a bullet, like awarded Navy Achievement Medal for exceptional service. For other awards, it might make the most sense to list all of them in one line, either directly under your subheading that lists your military branch or at the bottom of your resume. Now let's talk about shifting your mindset. Law firm expectations may be very different than what you're used to. Here are three key themes to think through as you start the recruitment process. First, firms are serious about only wanting a one-page resume. In the military and other places in federal government, a multi-page resume is standard, even encouraged. Why are law firms so different? Because they want candidates to show on their resume that they can be concise and tailor the content for a specific audience. Frankly, they want this in their interviews too. That's why translating your military experience is so important. Keeping in mind the importance of having a one-page resume, it is still incredibly valuable to show employers when and how often you were promoted during your military service. Promotions demonstrate important qualities that employers are seeking: your reliability, long-term loyalty, and readiness to take on new responsibilities. Many veterans find this format easiest to fit onto one page. By placing everything under the same employment header, you're making it clear that you kept getting promoted, and you're saving space by not repeating the same employer lines. Second, the legal market expects candidates to stretch for positions. From your time in the military, you may have a mindset that people earn their positions and promotions by performing work duties that earn them those positions. In the entry-level firm market, particularly in OCI, that's not always true. Instead, there's an expectation that candidates will be stretching to argue how they'll be able to successfully perform job duties, even if they haven't done much like those duties yet. Like so much in the legal world, this tests your ability to make strong, persuasive arguments as much as it examines your experience. For help with this, talk to your OCS advisor. Third, your service proves you have a valuable skill set that is not as common in the civilian market as you may think, so get ready to sell it. Teamwork is essential, and your service taught you how to succeed on a team. As you ascend through law firm ranks, you'll be able to employ leadership skills in a different way than your colleagues who have not served. Not only do you do well with teams, but you've demonstrated loyalty to a team and employer, making and honoring a large commitment. This is significant to a firm. You've also shown that you can take initiative as a working professional and exert individual ownership over your duties. This is key to succeeding in the civilian market, particularly where your supervisors might not always have the management experience and training that you're accustomed to. Make sure firm employers understand where you succeeded taking initiative while you served. Finally, your military experience shows that you've succeeded under pressure, so you can clearly work under the stresses of firm client demands. Tell firm employers how this proves you have the ability to succeed under pressure and truly set yourself apart from the competition. This is by no means a complete list of your skill set, but it is an important mental shift to realize that your service experience is uncommon in the civilian market and that it gives you unique strengths so that you should be prepared to sell it to firm employers. For many students applying to firms, particularly in OCI, the application process is difficult to navigate. If you're trying to transition to the civilian workforce for the first time, this can be compounded. Although your OCS advisor is here to help, we are no replacement for getting advice from someone who's been through this process with your same background. We encourage you to connect with the Military Law Society on campus and find an upper division mentor, and to network within our alumni community to find a mentor who has a big picture view of hiring and can advocate for you. This is particularly true as you translate your resume for the civilian world. As you network with military alumni, remember that it is okay to ask for resume-specific advice. You can explain to someone that you're networking with that you could use additional insight from a seasoned attorney about which aspects of your military experience they think their firm would find most appealing. Use your best judgment in how and when to make this request, but I know you'll find Georgetown alumni are excited to help. After all, everyone was once in your shoes. We have a strong military alumni network. Use it. Thanks for listening. We hope this video is helpful. You're always welcome to email, call, and make appointments with OCS career advisors for more help on this and other career questions you may have.